I don't believe that a politician gets more experience the longer they're in. I just think they get more power and they start to become more corrupt. And no more of this rolling money over either, from campaign to campaign. I say at the end of the campaign, whether you win, lose, whatever, all of that funding gets sent to a check that's split evenly amongst all the schools in the school district, and let's put our education back at the forum that is the most important instead of who lost or who won or whatever, because, they talk about doing this for schools all the time, but they never seem to get the funding. Well, one of the biggest things that, like we've been talking about, is term limits. I think 8 years is plenty. So this is the first thing that I'd like to instill after term limits: single itemized bill voting. Less than 30 pages, and it has to be read. A congressman has to go in and say, I read this document in order to be able to vote for it. And everybody says, well, that's going to take too much time. We don't have the time to do that. Okay. I'm sorry. This is your job. Like, if you're going to D.C., this is your job. You don't see a farmer saying, man, I really can't get out there and get those rows on the north pasture today because of this, this, and this. No, they have to get it in. So should a congressman. This is a public service. You were never supposed to be in this for a lifetime. You were supposed to go, do your duty, and be finished. And then now, if you work in Congress for 5 years, you reap all the benefits and everything else for as long as you're alive. And you're making $174,000 a year for however long you're in Congress. No more of that. Which leads me into my next bill that I want to put up, and that's to close the border. Because this border invasion that we have is driving inflation up through the roof, because look at all of the money that the government has to spend and that taxpayers lose, because we have all these people that are pushing straight into our country illegally. We have a system that can get them here. I'm not saying that we should permanently close the border and shut our doors, but we very, very much have a legal, right, correct way to come to this country to where you can come here and be beneficial. It is literally says, the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion and the application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. That's Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution. And the Biden administration has failed to do so. Alejandro Mayorkas has failed to do so. Immigration problem. We have hand, foot, and mouth disease, RSV, amongst other diseases. We have leprosy that's rising in the state of Texas. These things have ultimately been eradicated until this problem of an estimated 8.5 confirmed. That's just what we know of. It could be as high as 20 million. That's why I wanted to also talk about an event that's happening that's going through all of 2024, where we are taking our border back, and the main event is on February 3rd, 2024. I've been working with a couple of groups trying to get this going, and it's going to be in California, Arizona, and Texas. We are going to be, I'm kind of looking through the website here to make sure that I relay the most accurate and correct information about it, but we're uniting to take the border back. We have an immense problem in this country to where there's not enough attention that's being given. And so we just decided, well, let's invite everybody down.
What's the name of this?
You can go to takeourborderback.com, and it's the Take Our Border Back Convoy. And so basically what we're going to be trying to do is we're going to be trying to line up vehicles from coast to coast. We're talking Florida to California, all the way across. We estimate that it should take about 700,000 vehicles to run the coast. And we want to do this over a couple of day period, starting from January 29th all the way up to February 3rd is about when the event is going to be there. There's a couple of press releases that have come out on this since January 12th, but it's it's basically just a coalition of concerned Americans from across the nation that have announced the formation of the Southern Border Convoy. And it's high. It's like, I think the math from last week was every single American owes $261,000. So, like, I have friends that just had a baby and their child owes $261,000. They're not even a full year old yet. I think that there's long been a coordinated effort ever since Trump left office to divide Americans from each other, because we are much stronger together than we ever will be apart. And so we have to stand up right now. I think we're finished with people who say they're going to do something and then they don't. And that's why I decided to run, is because I can guarantee that we're going to have some talks and we're going to expose some stuff if I get to Congress, because I am fed up. I'm tired of it. My entire life was ruined, but by the grace of God, He has rebuilt me day by day and hour by hour. And it's time. It's time to make a change in America. As long as those ideas facilitate what the Constitution stands for, then we don't have any issue, because the Constitution is still a living document. And that's what America is to me, too, is everybody standing together to achieve a common goal that benefits all of us, instead of these bureaucrats and these lobbyists and these politicians who want to get in here and tell you you're stupid and you don't know how to run your life, so we have to do it for you. So that if you identify with me, you can vote for me. And if you don't, vote against me. But go vote. That's the biggest thing that I want. If you like my policies, I would be more than happy to stand beside you and go and fight in Washington, D.C. If you don't, and you don't go vote, don't complain whenever you're not represented by somebody who you didn't believe in representing you, because you didn't take the opportunity to get registered to vote, to go out there. If you don't vote, you can't complain. I know that there's voters that want to know what Jody Arrington was thinking whenever he reauthorized the FBI to elicit FISA warrants against American people. You know, like why he's taking money from Covenant Health Systems, who required all of their employees to take COVID vaccines, and yet he says that every American should have the right to choose. You know, there's a lot of things that I feel like people would want to understand, like how come some of his money projects also have Democrats on the rolls that they're donating money to. You know, these are questions that we need answered.